Before the first star was born, there was silence, and in that silence, something dreamed. We are that dream, walking, breathing, asking questions in the dark. The galaxies are fingerprints left by that first thought, and we are the echo. Light travels for billions of years to touch your face, and though you do not notice, it notices you. It remembers. It carries your reflection forever. Time does not march forward. It coils, it loops, it circles back, like a river remembering its own reflection. One day you will meet yourself coming the other way, and you will understand you were never going anywhere at all. The universe built this place brick by brick, mountains for walls, rivers for veins. The hands that laid down galaxies laid this soil too. Mountains speak in a language so slow. We call it silence. Every rock is a frozen word. Every valley a long pause. Beneath our feet are cities no one remembers, buried in the dark like seeds, waiting for the season, when we remember them again. And maybe we are like those cities, whole kingdoms of ourselves. We have forgotten. The truth is slippery. We build our lives on ideas, justice, beauty, love, like bricks. But ideas are not stone, they are wind. And still, we chase them. Every soul is tied to another by a thread you cannot see. Sometimes the thread tangles, sometimes it stretches so far you think it's gone. But tug at your heart, and it tugs back. Love is not fireworks and poems, it is quieter. It's the way two people fit into each other's silence. The touch that says, I'm here, when the world is cold. And the terrible, beautiful thing about love is, it is never ours. We only hold it for a while, like a bird perching in our hand. We feel its weight, its warmth, and one day it flies away, leaving us with the ghost of its heartbeat in our palm. People believe that death is an ending. No, death is when the soul remembers how to breathe without lungs. It will not be darkness. It will be the first sunrise. You ever truly understood? The river of time carries us all, and when it bends back upon itself, you will find every face you've loved, waiting for you. They will not speak. They will simply stand in the light, and you will understand everything, without a single word. Somewhere in the folds of existence, there is a place where all things meet. Every heartbeat, every tear, every star, every shadow. It is not a place in space, but a point in meaning. The Nexus. Here, there is no before or after, no distance. Everything touches, and you remember you have been here before. When the universe ends, when every star is dust, and every sound has faded, there will be one question left in the dark. It will whisper your name, and you will answer, and the next universe will be born. We return to where we began, but we are not the same. The dust that once was starlight has learned how to love. History is not made of battles and kings. It is the sound of a mother singing in a kitchen, 100 years ago, it is a letter never sent, a laugh in the sun already becoming a memory. The galaxies may not know our names, but the people we love will, and that is enough to leave our mark on eternity. So breathe deep, walk slow. Notice the light touching your face. It has traveled forever to find you. Do not let it arrive in vain. We tell ourselves history is the clash of kings, the rise and fall of empires. But history is a grandmother whispering to her grandchild. It is bread passed across a wooden table. It is the planting of a tree whose shade the planter will never see. These are the true monuments, the ones carved in flesh and memory, not in stone. And yet, even knowing this, we ask, what does it mean? We wander through life as if searching for a script written in stone. But meaning is not given, it is made. Every act of kindness, every hand held in silence, that is the meaning. You are the author of the only gospel that will ever belong to you. A bird does not know it is beautiful when it sings. The deer does not measure the grace of its stride. The ocean does not count its waves. And yet, in their unknowing, they are perfect. Nature does not strive, it simply is. And in being, it teaches us how to live. Love is not an answer, it is a question. The most beautiful question the universe has ever asked. Every time we choose to love, we say yes to existence itself. We say, this life is worth it, even with its pain, even with its loss. Love is the defiance of death with every heartbeat. And yet, life wounds us. Suffering is the chisel that carves us. No one asks for it, no one wants it, but when it passes, we are changed. Softer perhaps, deeper. Like glass shattered and remade into a stained window that lets the light through in 1,000 colors. Still, we build. Cathedrals that scrape the sky, bridges that leap rivers, cities that glow like constellations. Why do we build? Because we cannot bear the silence of the void. Every tower, every wall is a heartbeat made visible. To build is to declare, we were here, we mattered. We spend our lives collecting moments, like seashells on a beach, each one fragile, each one bound to be lost again. And yet, somehow, we pretend we own them. We tell ourselves, this is mine. This memory, this person, this happiness, it belongs to me. But in truth, nothing belongs to us. We are only ever borrowing. Time lends us everything. It lends us our childhood laughter. It lends us the warmth of our mother's hands, the sound of our father's voice. It lends us love and heartbreak and all the faces that pass through our days. And then, without warning, time comes to collect its debt. So much of life is a negotiation with loss. Every sunrise is a reminder that night is coming. Every hello is spoken with the echo of a goodbye already inside it. And yet, here's the strange, beautiful paradox. Knowing that everything is temporary doesn't diminish its value. It heightens it. The cherry blossom is more beautiful because it falls. The flame is brighter because it burns out. And we are more alive when we remember we are dying. I think about the people I've loved. How many of them do I still carry, like ghosts in the chambers of my chest? How many voices echo inside me long after their throats have gone quiet? There is a strange immortality in that. Perhaps we are not remembered for what we built or what we conquered, but for the ways we touched another soul. The way our laughter stitched itself into someone else's memory. The way our kindness, small, invisible, became the seed of their courage. We live in an age obsessed with permanence. We build skyscrapers, monuments, digital archives, desperate to outwit time, to leave some trace of ourselves carved into eternity. But eternity doesn't need us to leave scars. It needs us to leave ripples. Ripples in the quiet water of another human being. Because monuments crumble, files corrupt, statues fall into dust. But a gentle act of love. We forget that we belong to each other, That beneath the endless noise, borders, flags, skin, faith, wealth, we are, each of us, a fragile beating heart, aching to be seen, aching to be held. We tell ourselves we are self-made, that we stand alone, proud and unyielding. But who among us has ever truly stood alone? Your first breath was drawn in the arms of another. Your first step was steadied by a hand reaching down. Every word you speak was a gift, taught by someone who cared enough to teach you. Even the bread on your table is the labor of countless unseen hands. Farmers, bakers, drivers, builders, strangers who will never know your name, yet gave you sustenance all the same. Human beings, we are threads in a single tapestry. Pull one loose, go and the whole fabric weakens. But woven together, we can bear the weight of the world. When we forget this, when we give in to greed, to division, to hatred, we begin to unravel. We turn against the very hands that hold us up. And in that turning, we lose ourselves. Look at the times we shine brightest. It is never in conquest, never in cruelty. It is when we build bridges instead of walls. It is when disaster strikes and strangers rush forward, not back. It is when we weep together, laugh together, lift one another from the dust and whisper, "You are not alone." The world tells us strength is domination, but strength is gentleness. Strength is the courage to say, "I need you, and you need me." Not because we are weak, but because we are human. And to be human is to belong, to share, to depend. We live in an age of iron and lightning, machines faster than thought, voices that cross oceans in an instant. But with all our power, with all our brilliance, what good is it if we forget the simplest truth? That no invention, no empire, no fortune will ever replace the warmth of another hand in ours. So I say this, let us remember each other. Let us see in every face, not an enemy, not a stranger. What does it mean to be real? Not the mask, not the posture, not the polished performance we give the world, but the core of us, that quiet, trembling thing that beats beneath our ribs, that cries out in silence when no one is watching. We spend so much of our lives rehearsing. We craft images, polish identities, mold ourselves into something we think will be admired. We become actors in a play we did not write, reciting lines that don't belong to us, applauded for a role that leaves us hollow. And yet, beneath all the noise, there is still that small voice whispering, "This is not who I am. Authenticity, that is the word. But authenticity is not easy. It is dangerous. It is vulnerable. Because to be authentic is to risk being rejected for the truth, rather than love for a lie. It is to stand naked before the world and say, 'Here I am, broken, flawed, messy, beautiful, human.' And that is terrifying. But it is the only thing that makes life worth living. Why are we here? Not to amass, not to conquer, not to hide behind walls of wealth or armor of pride. We are here to feel. To taste the salt of our tears and the sweetness of our laughter. To break, to heal, to love, to lose, to love again. We are here to press our souls against the fabric of existence and leave the faintest imprint, a song, a poem, a painting, a touch, a kindness that says, 'I was here, I felt, I lived.' That is why we make art, not for galleries or critics or profit. We make art because words fail, because there are hungers in the human spirit too vast for language, because there are griefs too heavy for silence, and joys too wild for reason. So we carve them into stone, paint them onto canvas, wrap them in melody, spill them onto pages. We make art to mirror our souls back to us, to say to another, do you see? You feel this too? Then I am not alone. At our core, beneath the layers of ego and performance, we are not defined by what we own or what we achieve. We are defined by what we reveal. We live in a world obsessed with praise. Shiny statues, gold-plated plaques, names etched in marble. The ceremony, the applause, the spotlight. As if the value of a thing could be measured in trophies, as if the worth of a soul could be weighed in ribbons and reviews. But a thing is a thing. The painting exists whether or not it hangs in a gallery. The poem breathes whether or not it is published. The song has meaning even if it is sung only once, in a quiet room, to no one at all. The work is not made greater by the applause. The applause is only an echo, a faint reflection of something already complete. An award does not create beauty. It does not give truth. It does not breathe life into the canvas or fire into the words. It merely points at them, like a finger at the moon. And too often, we mistake the finger for the moon itself. We chase the pointing hand and forget to look up. What really matters is the work. The struggle, the discipline, the long hours in silence. The nights you sit with your own doubt, your own fear, and still you press on. That is the reward. The work itself transforms you, not the recognition, not the applause, but the act of creation. The act of pouring yourself into something until you see yourself staring back. The danger of trophies is that they trick us into thinking. A thing is only valuable once it is recognized. But think of the tree in the forest, the flower blooming on a mountaintop no one will ever climb. They are no less beautiful for being unseen. Their existence is their truth. And so it is with art, with work, with us. Awards tarnish. Statues crumble. The memory of who won what, when, will fade into dust. But the work, that endures. The story will still move someone long after your name is forgotten. The music will still stir a heart centuries after the composer's bones are gone. The work is alive in ways we cannot measure. It outlives us. So what should we seek? Not the prize, not the ceremony. Think about it. The mountains we call eternal, dinosaurs watched them rise. The rivers we think ancient, dinosaurs drank from their first currents. And then, in an instant, they were gone. An empire older than memory, undone by the turning of the cosmos, by fire and ash, by chance itself. There is something humbling in that the mightiest beast the earth has ever known could vanish, utterly, leaving behind only bones, only whispers pressed into stone. It reminds us that nothing lasts. Not kings, not empires, not even the giants of prehistory. And yet, look closer. In the feathers of a sparrow, in the talons of an eagle, the dinosaurs still live. They did not vanish entirely, they transformed. Life carried them forward in new forms, smaller, lighter, but no less miraculous. The legacy of their being continues in every bird that takes flight. What looks like an ending was only a change. Perhaps that is why they captivate us, because in them we see ourselves, our own hunger for survival, our own fragility before the vast indifference of time. We, too, may rise and vanish, but maybe, like them, some part of us will carry on, not in bone or blood, but in stories, in memory, in the quiet ripple of how we shape the world. Dinosaurs remind us that we are not the beginning, nor the end. We are only one verse in a song that has been singing for billions of years. A song of fire and water, tooth and feather, extinction and rebirth. And if we listen, really listen, we can still hear their footsteps, rumbling through the corridors of time, reminding us that life is vast, that we are small, and that the true miracle is not how long we endure, but that we are here at all. We look to the stars and we see infinity, galaxies spinning, suns birthing and dying, worlds colliding in silence. The cosmos is vast, and yet, somehow, it all feels distant, unreachable, beyond touch. But then, look closer. Look here, on this small blue planet. The miracle of creation does not only happen in the heavens, it happens in the body of a woman. The same universe that forged stars and carved mountains, that spun galaxies into being, placed its greatest mystery into her hands. Women carry the cosmos within them. They carry time itself, past and future, blood and bone, woven together in the sanctuary of their bodies. Every one of us began there. Every poet, every builder, every dreamer. Every soul who has ever looked up at the night sky and asked why, all of them once heard the first echo of a heartbeat through the walls of a mother's womb. What is the universe, if not creation? And what is a woman, if not its most human reflection? Through them, infinity becomes flesh. Through them, the abstract becomes real. The eternal takes form, the future breathes. And yet, how often do we forget? How often do we reduce, dismiss, silence, turn away from the very beings through whom all of life has passed? To dishonor women is to dishonor creation itself. It is to spit upon the very mystery that birthed us. When I think of the cosmos, I think of stars collapsing into black holes, nebulas bursting into color. But when I think of women, I think of strength clothed in tenderness, resilience veiled in compassion, a beauty that is not ornament but essence. They are proof that power does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it cradles, sometimes it simply endures. Dinosaurs remind us that nothing lasts. The stars remind us that we are small, but women remind us that against all odds, life continues, hope continues, love continues. Through them, the story does not end, and perhaps that is the deepest truth. Time. It is the only thing we truly spend, the only currency we cannot earn back. It slips through our fingers, grain by grain. Whether we notice it or not, we chase it. We try to trap it in photographs, stretch it with schedules, outwit it with medicine, but still, it moves on. It does not pause for love, nor bargain with grief, nor halt in the presence of kings. And yet, time is not only thief, it is also teacher. It shows us what matters by taking it away. It forces us to choose, to prioritize, to ask ourselves, what will I do with the hours I've been given? For nothing sharpens the soul like the awareness of its own ending. Think of the moments you hold dearest, not the grand victories, not the trophies, but the fleeting things. The way the light fell on your kitchen table one morning, the sound of someone you loved laughing without restraint, the stillness of a night where for no reason at all, you felt at peace. Those moments were small, but because they passed, they became infinite. Time gave them weight by taking them away. We often fear time, as if it is against us, as if it is our enemy. But perhaps time is not against us at all. Perhaps it is with us. It does not steal, it reminds, it whispers, do not waste me. Do not sleepwalk through me. Do not treat me as endless, for I am not. And maybe that's the gift, that we are temporary, that we are not here forever. Because if we were endless, will we ever truly live? Will we ever feel the urgency to say I love you now, to forgive now, to begin now? It is because the clock is ticking that our hearts learn how to beat. So yes, time will take us. It will take everyone we love. It will take every building, every city, every empire. But until then, time also gives. It gives us mornings and evenings, seasons and lifetimes, beginnings and endings. It gives us the chance, however brief, to carve our story into the silence. We live in a strange new age, an age where machines, creations of our own hands, are beginning to create. They paint, they write, they compose. Lines of code, circuits, algorithms, and somehow, from this machinery, images emerge, words arrange themselves into beauty, music flows. It unsettles us, because art was supposed to be ours, the sacred ground of human expression, the place where we wrestled with joy and sorrow, and turned them into form. If a machine can do that, what does it mean to be human? But let us look closer. A machine may weave patterns, but it does not ache. It may arrange words, but does not dream. It may sing notes in perfect harmony, but it does not know the silence of a broken heart. The art of artificial intelligence is a mirror. It reflects us back to ourselves. Every brushstroke it generates, every poem it composes, is a collage of our own creations, our own history, our own longings and ideas, fed into it by human hands. It is not the soul of the machine we are witnessing, it is the echo of our own soul, shuffled, reassembled, reflected in strange new ways. So perhaps the question is not, can AI make art? But rather, what does its art reveal about us? What does it show us about our hunger to create, our desire to capture meaning, our desperate need to see beauty, even if it comes from silicon? We should not fear the machine for painting a picture. We should fear ourselves forgetting why we paint at all. The purpose of art was never the product, never the painting, the poem, the song itself. It was always the act of reaching into the chaos of existence, into our wounds and our wonders, and pulling out something that says, this is how it feels to be me. This is what it means to be alive. A machine cannot feel. It cannot sit at the edge of grief and wonder if it will survive. It cannot watch the sunrise after a long night and weep because it made it through. Only we can do that. War. It is the oldest story we tell, and still the one we cannot stop repeating. The clash of armies, the thunder of weapons, the endless march of young men and women, into fields where their names will be forgotten, and their blood will sink into unyielding soil. We call it glory. We dress it in banners, anthems, medals. We write poems about victory, carve statues for the conquerors, but strip away the language, the ceremony, the propaganda, and what is left. Children who will never come home, mothers who will never stop weeping, cities turn to ash, dreams turn to silence. War is not waged by monsters. It is waged by human beings, by hands that once cradled a child, by hearts that once longed for peace. That is the true horror, that the same species who paints the Sistine ceiling, who composes symphonies, who writes love letters under starlight, is the same species who burns villages and builds machines designed only to kill. Why do we do it? Fear? Pride? The illusion of safety? We convince ourselves that violence will secure peace, but history whispers otherwise. Every war promises an end to war, and every war becomes the seed of the next. Violence does not end violence, it only teaches the world how to bleed. And yet, there is another truth. Out of war sometimes comes revelation. In the mud and ruin, humanity remembers itself. Soldiers share bread across enemy lines. Strangers shield strangers from fire. We discover, in the darkest of places, that compassion still survives. That even in the machinery of death, the human heart refuses to die. Perhaps that is the paradox. That war shows us both the worst of what we are capable of and the best of what we must become. It forces us to ask, how long will we keep destroying before we learn to build? How many graves must we dig before we honor the living more than the dead? There's a place inside the ordinary where the walls begin to hum, where the light from the lamp flickers just so, and for a moment you swear you see another world bleeding through the cracks. It's in the silence between words. It's in the way the telephone rings at 3 a.m. and though no one answers, you feel the voice on the other end whispering your name. It's in the smile of a stranger that lasts too long, like they know you, like they've always known you. Surrealism is not escape, it is revelation. It is the truth peeking through the mask of reality, the raw, unshaped terror and beauty that lives beneath the skin of things. It says, the world is not stable. It never was. The floor might drop out at any moment. The sky might open and pour red light. Your reflection might blink when you don't. But isn't that closer to how life really feels? One moment, you're sipping coffee in a diner. The next, you're staring into the steam rising from the cup. And suddenly, you're thinking about death and your childhood and the strange inevitability of endings. A jukebox plays a love song, but somehow it feels like a warning. Surrealism lives in that tension, the ordinary and the impossible, folded together until you can't tell which is which. It reminds us that reality is not neat. It is not a straight line. It is a dream, half remembered, slipping through our fingers even as we live it. And maybe, just maybe, the strange is the most honest thing we have, because beneath the schedules, the politeness, The painted smiles. Aren't we all walking contradictions? Aren't we all haunted by images we can't explain? A man with no face, a hallway that never ends, the sound of a train that isn't there. They rise up from somewhere deep, somewhere beyond reason, and they remind us, we are not logical creatures pretending to dream. We are dreamers pretending to be logical. So listen closely to the flickering lamp, to the hum in the walls. Close your eyes, and the world dissolves. The room, the walls, the weight of the body, all of it falls away like smoke in the wind. What remains is the dream, a world unbound by gravity or reason, a place where the impossible is as natural as breath. We wander through these landscapes each night. Some we forget, like footprints washed away by morning tide. Others cling to us, whispering through the day with strange insistence, as if they are not inventions of sleep, but messages from a deeper truth. Meditation teaches us. What we call waking is only one layer of consciousness. Beneath it are vast oceans, uncharted, infinite. Dreams are the ripples on the surface, but below, there is stillness, there is silence. There is the place where thought itself dissolves, and in that silence, something extraordinary happens. The self we cling to, our name, our story, our worries, falls away. What remains is pure awareness. Not me or you, not the chatter of the mind, but the simple fact of being. The same presence that glows in the stars, that breathes in the trees, that pulses in every living heart. This is transcendence. The realization that the dream of separation is only a veil, that we are not drops in the ocean, but the ocean itself, momentarily believing we are drops. Why do we dream? Perhaps because, in dreams, the boundaries soften. We glimpse the truth we resist in waking life. That reality is fluid, that the possible is larger than we imagine, that what we are is not confined to flesh and thought, but something luminous, something eternal. And so we return to meditation, to silence, to the breath. Not to escape the world, but to remember what the world truly is. A dream within a dream, layers upon layers of perception, all shimmering on the surface of a vast stillness. One day, perhaps, we will awaken fully, not from sleep, but from the illusion of being small, separate, temporary. This body, it is the first home we are ever given, the one constant companion we cannot leave behind. From the moment we arrive, crying and gasping into the air of this world, until the final breath slips from our lungs, it carries us, and yet how easily we forget it. How often we treat it as a burden, a nuisance, a collection of flaws to be measured against mirrors and scales. We forget that beneath the skin is not imperfection, but miracle. That the heart beats without asking our permission. That the lungs rise and fall, faithful as tides. That billions of cells, silent, unseen, work together in a harmony so complex, no machine, no invention, no empire can rival it. Health is not simply the absence of illness. It is the balance between fragility and resilience. It is the wisdom of knowing when to push and when to rest. It is a daily act of reverence, to nourish, to move, to breathe, not out of vanity, but out of gratitude. Think of what this body allows: to run, to dance, to hold another close, to laugh until the ribs ache, to taste food, to feel rain on the skin, to tremble at music that pierces the soul. Every sensation, every joy, every heartbreak, it all flows through this vessel. And when sickness comes, as it does to all, we are reminded that this body is not invincible, that health is not guaranteed, that each day of strength, each breath without pain is not to be taken for granted. But here is the truth. The body is not only fragile, it is astonishingly forgiving. It heals, it mends, it adapts. Scars form where there was once open wound, bones knit back together. Even the heart, broken by grief, somehow learns to beat again. So what is health, truly? It is the sacred relationship between the self and the vessel that carries it. It is respect. It is gratitude. It is listening, not just when it cries out in sickness, but when it whispers in fatigue, in hunger, in quiet longing for rest. Isn't it strange how life is so utterly ridiculous? We pretend it's all so serious, mortgages and funerals, elections and deadlines. But then you slip on the ice carrying a bag of groceries and suddenly bananas are airborne projectiles. And for a moment, life reveals its comedy. Humor is the pressure valve of existence. It's the universe whispering, "Don't take yourself too seriously. You're only here for a blink." We laugh not just because something is funny, but because laughter is survival. Because if we didn't laugh, the weight of it all, the sorrow, the struggle, the sheer absurdity of being conscious would crush us. Think about it. We're creatures made of stardust, walking upright on a spinning rock, hurtling through a black void, all while arguing over parking spaces. That alone is hilarious. Humor is rebellion. It's defiance against despair. When we laugh in the face of tragedy, we are saying, "You may break my heart, but you will not break my spirit." The clown, the jester, the fool, they are not lesser beings. They are guardians. They remind us that even in the darkest corridors of existence, the absurd torch of laughter can still be lit. And oh, the weird things that happen. Those small, inexplicable glitches in the everyday. The dog that sneezes at the exact moment you confess a secret. The stranger who waves at you, then realizes they don't know you at all. The phone call from someone you were just thinking about. Life drops these absurd gifts like breadcrumbs, as if to say, "Don't get too comfortable in your seriousness. I am stranger than you imagine." Humor is the soul's reminder that it cannot be caged. It is freedom bursting through the seams of order. It is cosmic mischief. It is the recognition that the universe itself has a sense of play, that maybe creation wasn't an act of solemn duty, but of joy, of laughter, of a divine chuckle echoing across eternity. Desire, fear, shame, ecstasy. It is a fire that has burned in humanity since the beginning. It is not simply an act of flesh, but a communion of souls, a moment when the walls we build around ourselves dissolve into touch, into breath, into surrender. At its most hollow, sex can be transaction, distraction, escape, a desperate attempt to silence loneliness with motion and skin. But at its highest, sex is prayer. It is two beings standing at the edge of mystery, offering themselves not as perfect, but as raw, trembling, human. Why does it move us so deeply? Because in sex, we return to the ancient truth of our existence, that we are not meant to be alone, that the boundaries of I and you are illusions that dissolve under the weight of touch. In that moment, we are not names, not roles, not histories. We are pure being, woven together in rhythm, in heartbeat, in breath. It is creation itself. Every one of us is here because of it. Not just the act, but the cosmic force it represents. The same energy that births galaxies, that ignites stars, that pushes the seed through soil, and the tide to kiss the shore. Sex is not separate from the universe. It is the universe expressing itself through us. And yet, society has cloaked it in fear, in guilt, in chains. We whisper about it, laugh nervously, turn it into commodity. But beneath all the noise, sex remains what it has always been, a mirror held up to the soul. It shows us our hunger, our longing, our tenderness, our truth. It reveals who we are when the masks fall away. Healthy sex is not conquest. It is not power. It is vulnerability. It is trust. It is saying, here I am with my scars, my fears, my desires, and still I give myself. It is a dance of courage, a moment where love is not spoken, but embodied. Yes, the body is involved, but sex is not confined to flesh. It is emotional, spiritual, cosmic. It is the soul remembering itself through another. Reality, a word we speak with such confidence as though we know what it means. But how much of what we call real is simply a program running in our minds? Think about it. You don't see the world, you see light bouncing off it, filtered through your eyes, translated by your brain. You don't hear truth. You hear vibrations in the air, turned into signals, decoded into meaning. Everything you've ever known has passed through the circuitry of your body. So what is the world, if not an echo inside your skull? We live inside a simulation, not necessarily of machines and wires, but of perception, a matrix of habits, assumptions, beliefs passed down to us like hand-me-down clothes. We inherit a script, we memorize our lines, and we call that life. But sometimes, just sometimes, there is a glitch, the coincidence too sharp to ignore, the feeling you've been here before, the sudden question, what if none of this is what I think it is? And for a flicker of a second, the program falters, the veil lifts, and you catch a glimpse of something vast and terrifying and beautiful. Here's the paradox. If reality is an illusion, then illusion is our reality. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the question isn't, is this world real? But rather, am I real within it? Am I awake? Am I living my own truth? Or am I just playing my part, never daring to look up and see who wrote the script? Because freedom, real freedom, doesn't come from bending spoons or breaking walls. It comes from remembering that the walls were never there. It comes from refusing to let anyone else tell you what this life should mean. So, reality. Is it a prison? Or a playground? A machine to trap us? Or a mirror to wake us? The choice is ours. It always has been. And maybe that's the only thing that's real. The choice. And so, here we are, at the edge of knowing, staring into the silence that stretches beyond thought. We have lived our days as though they were solid, brick stacked upon brick, moments arranged like stones in a wall. We've laughed, we've wept, we've fought, we've prayed, we've touched hands in the dark and believed those hands were real. But in the quiet, when the noise fades, a question stirs. What if all of this, the faces, the voices, the cities, the wars, the triumphs, the graves, is nothing more than a shimmer? A fragile veil drawn across the abyss. Dreamers, that's what we are. Dreamers who mistake the dream for the world. Every kiss, every loss, every triumph, gone in a heartbeat, like sand slipping through an open palm. And still, we hold on, because it feels real, because in the dream, it matters. Perhaps reality is not the stage beneath our feet, but the awareness that watches the play. Perhaps you and I are only fragments of a greater mind, brief sparks in the dark, flaring for an instant before returning to the source. And if that is true, if this life is but a dream within a dream, then let us dream it well. Let us fill it with beauty, with kindness, with courage, with love. For though the dream may end, the meaning we give it may echo beyond the waking. So I say to you, hold nothing back. Be unafraid of the illusion. Embrace it, live it, burn brightly within it. Because in the end, when the curtain falls and the dream dissolves into silence, the only question that will remain is, did you dare to live it as if it were real?
What could we see from the highest height? What good are wings if I'm afraid to fly? All of the tremors that I have inside got me scared. Will you be there? If we're the last to learn that we crash and burn and we'll never make it, if the smoke don't we face our fear that we never make it? Is it a chance we're taking? 'Cause I just can't lose you. You can't unfall and you can't unbreak, and you can't understand every risk you should take. I dreamed in the dark that we rolled the dice. I'm still scared. Will you be there? If we're the last to learn that we crash and burn, and we'll never make it. If the smoke don't clear, could we face our fear that we never make it? Is it a chance we're taking? 'Cause I just can't lose you. If we're the last to learn that we crash and burn, and we'll never make it. If the smoke don't clear, could we face our fear that we never make it? Is it a chance we're taking? 'Cause I just